Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers of 3.0 I'm your host, Manoj Dara. The adoption of MiCA by the European Union Finmin has set a crypto regulation ball rolling among the other nations as well. India, which has championed the need for the global crypto regulations, lags behind. We spoke to Mr. Chandan Goswami for his views on the crypto regulations. Let's listen in what he has to say about it.
MiCA regulation is something to look forward to, and the crypto community has been waiting for it since a very long time. According to me, it's one of the most landmark legislation which has been passed by the EU Parliament, encompassing everything related to crypto assets, and it is going to be very beneficial for the entire crypto community in total. According to me, the prime objective for which this regulation has been brought into force is to contain the activities of fraud, to protect the consumers, to ensure that there is a holistic development of the crypto market, and to foster innovation while also keeping in mind the current financial situation in EU. Now, the benefit that this is going to give is tremendous. We'll see in the coming few years after this act comes into force that how the entire act is going to help the crypto players in the market. I think to begin with, there will be so many crypto investors who have not invested their money due to the fear of the entire crypto assets being unregulated. They're going to invest. So we're going to see a boom perhaps in the investment. We're also going to see a boom perhaps in various compliances, etc. Because if in the future you would want to do business in the EU, it will be obligatory upon you to comply with the laws of the land, even if you are not registered in the EU, but you want to provide your services to the EU people, similar to the privacy laws, etc. So yes, it's a landmark law. It's going to help a lot of the entire crypto community, and I hope that taking this new legislation into consideration, we see much more beautifully written legislations coming in the future.
In studio, we have been joined by a special guest. Let me introduce you to Deepika Singh of DeepSides. Deepika, hi. Welcome on 3.0 TV.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
So, since we are talking about the regulations and the regulatory angle, so what's your take on India's crypto regulations, which has been delayed so far? As we know that EU has already set the ball rolling.
Yes.
Going forward, what's your view? What's your opening thoughts about it?
Sure. So our populace till now has been utilizing crypto as a very valuable asset and has adopted it to a greater extent. That is the reason so many companies have come to India and is looking at it as a major market base. However, the regulation here is evolving very, very slowly, thus opening up a lot of ambiguity exposure to not only our subscribers but also the perpetrators' answer. The modus behind this would be that if the people are not aware of what regulations are expected, if there is no enough cataloging, and with the users actively subscribing it to the same, because the parliament here has declared of it being a normal tender where no recognition or formal recognition has been given to the same.
Fantastic. But
neither it is illegal. So here this ambiguity is something that will be affecting
still
our
remain.
masses. Yeah.
All right, since we're talking about ambiguity, and what are the nagging issues here? Since you spoke about there is some of the other clarity which is lacking, are we concerned about losing control over the currency or worried about money being used for illicit purpose? And this is actually, which has been highlighted by the government as well.
Correct.
What do you have to say about this, issues?
Yeah, so the ambiguity basically comes and introduces here of lack of intermediary guidelines and controls. Right. All the public platforms which are now being used on the blockchain ecosystem are responsible to their consumers. There is where the accountability is something that will come into the picture.
Right.
Second is, if regulation is not there, then nefarious activities come on the straight rise.
Exactly.
In cybercrime investigation, we've seen blockchain or cryptocurrencies often ends up being the last mile ecosystem for the perpetrators, where they withdraw the money in the crypto. The reason being lack of regulation is one of the primary reasons, and that is why the masses are suffering. So any crime that takes place into the blockchain or crypto ecosystem is not registered formally, and therefore since there are no rules governing the same under the IT Act of 2018, it'll be very difficult.
Deepika, you spoke
investigate.
about broader cyber attacks, and if you can just very quickly throw some numbers for our viewers to help them understand how this situation, how the scenario is actually working, and what kind of correlation it is having with the cryptocurrency market as well.
Sure. So every month, as per the NCRB statistics, 80,000 plus attacks have been recorded every month in India. Now, most of them are social engineering attacks, but at least 2 to 3% are sophisticated ones. When I say they have a crypto angle associated with it, where either the proceeds of crime have been withdrawn using crypto, or crypto instruments or an ICO or something of that sort has been used on popular platforms such as Telegram or Discord to basically get the crowd attraction on this. The reason we have to pay attention to these statistics is because even though ICO is something which is more of a virtual or digital currency, it has physical assets invested, physical money that people have spent to buy it. And that's the reason if we are not able to contain that scope or spans, this will further increase. So if we look at the losses that the cyber crime industry has caused to India, in total is about $600 million only in India. And this $600 million, this is only in India. These are as per the recent numbers. But let's say if the ecosystem is just 2 to 3% with what the crypto is happening, either locking of the wallets or basically siphoning money off the wallets also through different Telegram or malicious links, then it becomes a rising concern. Even if $1 is lost into the same, that needs to be looked into because it's our money, the country's money that's basically going out through the drain.
So since you're talking about $600 million number, that reminds me of a Ronin attack which happened, and still there is no trace of actually the last mile and what was the reason behind it.
True.
So since we are talking about regulations and its way forward, you gave a very nice stats about how this cyber security numbers are looking like for India as well. What do you have to say about the 30% tax on the gains and 1% TDS, since it is not attracting, although we have seen a mass company exodus from India, they are settling in UK, US, although US is tightening the nut and bolts about the regulations.
Correct.
There are a lot of exchanges who are thinking to move out from US. That's what the news articles are saying.
Correct.
What do you have to say about the current tax scenario, regulations, plus the IT minister has also claimed that there are certain steps which will be taken to bring back those companies who have moved out of India.
Sure. So whenever it comes to taxation purposes, crypto is not similar to the other asset classes that are right now in the system, which are traditional in nature. Apart from that, it having a virtual sense to it, it having a global sense to it, basically newer molds need to be designed to fit crypto in that definition. Aligning or stacking it up against the traditional asset classes is basically fusing apples and oranges with each other. And we can't have one mold. Plus the money that has been drained out of the ecosystem of the country. Every company or every exchange will of course take care of its bottom line. Exactly. Bottom line is something that taxation, and these countries are looking to India because we have a 7 to 8% growing economy versus theirs is just 1 to 2%. So I would just request the government if they could have certain molds designed. A recognition, non-recognition can be an afterwards conversation, but at least not the brain drain should be happening out of our country.
Fantastic. So one last question before we let you go. So the cryptocurrency bill 2021 is still in process and might even take a while to open for consultation.
Yes.
Since you spoke about the government of India has already has taken some steps, when they introduced taxation on the virtual assets in the union budget of 2022, and we have seen the impact of it as well. However, the introduction of cryptocurrency bill is an important milestone, and do you think that milestone can be achieved that can work towards regulation and that can help ease the concerns in the cybersecurity space as well?
Certainly, it's definitely one major step towards it, but a lot of iterations will have to be gotten with consultations with the various stakeholders in the ecosystem, because we have seen wherever regulation has not favored every mass of the society that it is catering to, illegal channels or hawala channels have opened up. People will always find a way way to do business in nefarious activities also.
All right.
It's the government's prerogative here to take in all these historical precedents, incorporate that in the crypto bill that's coming up, and make sure that none of these illegal channels open up as a retaliation to whatever's been taken care of, and if stakeholders are not consulted.
Illegal channels are the most important challenge which this country is facing as of now. That's the word coming in from Deepika Singh. Thank you so much for being part of this interaction and explaining for our viewers what this regulatory aspect is all about and how this regulatory aspects can turn around the entire situation of India regulations as well as the taxation purpose. Thank you so much, Deepika, for being part of this interaction.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure having you on 3.0 TV. Thanks.